Hello adventurers, welcome to House Rules. We're filming at Adventure Games in Oshkosh, Wisconsin, and today we're talking about the Cities of Splendor expansion.
Yay! What? You like Splendor. You gave it a 5 if I remember.
I did. It's my favorite game.
Dan beat me at all 4 expansions.
All of them. We played all 4 of the expansions and he beat me.
Oh, that is unusual.
I usually win at Splendor.
I know.
You can't be a sore loser.
No, it's really great.
Good.
I'm glad we're talking about it.
Okay.
So am I. So we're diving back into the world of Splendor with 4 different expansions. Some of them change win conditions, some of them just change the game.
Yeah.
But it all felt like it accentuated it. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I would say, certainly I gave Splendor a 5 overall before, because it is one of my absolute favorite games. And I think as an expansion, I would give the expansion a 4 because I'm not particularly fond of the Strongholds. I think it really unbalanced it for me. But the game itself, with the expansion added, I think is still a 5 for me. So it's still a very good game.
Good.
What about you?
Well, I told Space Cowboys that the only way I was going to give them a 5 is if they made the insert fit, which they did not.
No.
Not even close. So I'm very sad, but
You didn't watch our videos, Space Cowboys?
I'm disappointed. You knew how to get a 5. It was right there. But I think I'm going to give it a 5 anyway, semi-begrudgingly. I really liked it. I thought it added a lot without changing the game too much, which is sometimes a little pet peeve of expansions of mine. I don't like if it's, feels completely different. And so I like that you can change it as little or as much as you want with these 4 expansions. So I think I'm going to give it a 5 this time.
Yeah.
Right.
Now, Splendor was a 4 for me, but with the expansion, it's a 5. I love the variety it adds. I really do like all of them. I guess my favorite would be the trading post, just because it added such speed and like different possibility ways that you could win. Because in Splendor, there's really only one way to win, is to get the points.
Right.
And with the trading post, it really changed up the way that you could get the points. It wasn't very complicated, but it was a little complex with the different variety. That was the only thing I struggled with.
I agree. I kept forgetting about them.
Yep.
I didn't forget to get them, but I would forget to use the abilities. And when we played, he was like, you still can do this. Did you forget? I'm like,
should have kept quiet because she beat me.
I did. I needed a little help, but yeah.
Well, and luck was on your side, right?
Yeah, I got some really lucky. Naomi would purchase a card and then flip,
boom.
and I had exactly the right resources to get it right away.
Sometimes
it happened
that's
like
the way it goes.
3 turns in a row, and it really gave me that extra jump start in the beginning, which is really important.
Yeah.
So,
Well, we'll start with telling you about Cities of Splendor. The first expansion is Cities of Splendor. It keeps the board state very much the same. The only thing that's changed is that you have cities instead of nobles. The win condition is that once you get what is required on the city, the first person to get a city wins. The only way that changes is, as you know, in Splendor, when it goes around, everyone gets to finish out the round. So whoever has the most prestige points at the end, even if everyone gets a city, that person wins. So like this one, you need 17 prestige points to even receive this city. So that's these points that you're gaining. This type is you need 14 prestige points, 4 green gems, and then 4 of another color. So that's what this is. It just means of any kind. They just have to be equal. And then this one is just the traditional symbols that you would recognize. It would be the prestige points and then the gem colors. So the game plays basically the same. It's just that you're trying to get a city.
So as you can see, Cities expansion changed Splendor the least. One that I thought was a lot more complex was the Orient. It's my favorite. It's a lot more complex in that it adds different types of resources, the doubles, the gold coins, and then also spending changed. So instead of spending gems on items, you could spend some of your bonus cards on them. So there was a lot more give and take, I think, that really changed it up.
Yeah, I think that my biggest thing with the Orient was just that it really expands the board.
Yeah.
And so I needed a lot more table space. But other than that, I mean, it enhanced the marketplace. That's the one that really like took the marketplace to a new level, and I really liked that. My only clarification, kind of tricky thing that came up in any of the expansions was in the Orient. Mm-hmm. I interpreted the rules to say that if you add a bag gem to a gem, you can't stack those, so it has to stay 1 to 1.
Yeah.
You can't like keep adding them on. You know, oh, look at all the rubies I have.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that was kind of the only tricky thing.
The rules were really streamlined for each of the expansions, but I could have done with a little more clarification on the Orient.
Right.
That was the
And
only
we
one.
were a little unsure if the bags counted towards the nobles
Yeah.
and the other resource things that we needed. But we decided to play that it did. And for us, it kind of sped up the game. I know you said your game
It took
with
it a
them
lot
was-
longer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, ours was pretty quick. So I guess it kind of depends on which resources you're getting and kind of your strategy there.
All right, so now.
All right, so this is the Orient expansion. This is my personal favorite. As you can see, this part of the board is set up exactly the same. We've still got our nobles and gems, but we've added extra area of bonuses. So we've still got 3 different tiers. They're labeled the same way here, so you can tell even though they're all red. And what each of these does is a little unique. So this is the bag we mentioned earlier. When you purchase a card, you add the bag on, and it gives you an extra gem that you can spend throughout the game. This one's a little unique. It adds 2 of the gems here. This one, once you purchase it, you get the ruby, but you are also able to reserve one of the nobles. So say someone is going to get it pretty quickly and you wanted it, you reserve it, then only you can get it later. This one is pretty fun, actually. Once you spend this and get this resource, you also, I don't know if you can see here, you also get a free tier 2 card. So once you've purchased this, you grab one for free and add it into your resources. And this one is a little tricky, but these here have the red slash through them, so you have to discard 2 of your green bonuses that you've already purchased in order to get the ruby and the 3 points. So it adds an extra layer of spending. Say it's getting near the end of the game, you're not really going to use your green very much anymore. You can discard those in order to get an extra red and hopefully give you the little extra leverage that you need.
So that was the Orient. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the trading post, my favorite. It definitely, like I said, it wasn't hard, but it definitely added some complexity. What did you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. I like the abilities that it adds. I think though it kind of, for us when we played, it made it really, that was what I was focused on. I wanted the abilities. and so it kind of changed the way in which I approach the game, which normally when I play, I go, okay, which noble do I want? And this, it was which ability do I want? And I want to go for that first. And there was kind of this battle royale for rubies. So.
And I kind of felt like a Splendor beginner when we broke it out. Just
Yeah.
because, like, when you play Splendor for the first time, you're, like, so focused on the one thing that you don't open your eyes to the overall picture and the board and give yourself a couple of different ways to win. You were just like, okay, I need this, I want this.
Well,
And
they
then you're
took
like-
it.
And then you're like, wait, what? It really tripped me up, but I really liked the way it sped up the game.
Right.
Yeah.
I like that they did make each ability available to every player. So it's not like once one person got it, no one else could get it. You
Right.
could all get it. You just had to than fight for those cards on the board, but you weren't fighting for the abilities. So I thought that was a good balance there. But like I said earlier, I just kept forgetting about them. I was like,
Yeah.
we went from the cities first to the trading post, and I was like, whoa, this changes a lot. Well, I'm just going to forget about that and play normally.
Well, so here's a little example of that.
So this is the Trading Post expansion, my personal favorite. The board stays pretty much the same. We still have the nobles, we still have the marketplace, but we have this additional board here. This board unlocks all sorts of fun powers. If you have this ability unlocked, when you purchase a card, you get an extra gem. When you have this ability unlocked, when you take 2 gems of the same color, if you're allowed, you get to take an extra one. So you can take like 2 green and a red if you're able to, which is really powerful. And I tried stopping Shar from doing that as much as possible because she loved that power. If you have this ability unlocked, a wild gold piece is actually worth 2 of any colored gem. This one, when you have it unlocked, you get 5 prestige points for each noble that you've acquired. So that really speeds up the game if you get that unlocked. And the last one, if you unlock this power, you get 1 additional prestige point for every shield you have out on the board. How that works is, once you've gotten the bonuses for each one of those powers, you take your little shield and you pop it on there. And then at the end, your next turn, you have access to that power. Just like when you get nobles, once you have the exact cards, it comes to you, you place your shield.
So the last of the expansions is the Strongholds. Strongholds use these little towers. So they're also the best tactile pieces. I do want to say that all of these expansions really kept up the quality of the game pieces. And so that's something I'm really grateful for. So good job, Space Cowboys. With Strongholds, my experience of it was that it made it the most chess-like. Kind of added this really you have to plan ahead move.
And
but
pay attention to your opponent.
pay attention to what it is that your opponent is doing, but they also are telling you what they're doing because you have to mark what you want.
Right.
But I personally found it did not work very well with 2 players. I think it gave way too much of an advantage to the first person who purchases a card, because really with 2 players,
You were just going back and
forth,
and
right?
back
And he could
forth
just
and
keep
back
placing
and
it, and I had to spend 2 turns to get a card and hope he didn't purchase a card, because I had to remove the Stronghold and then get it back. So for me, that was challenging. I feel like it would be really good with more players.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a
3 or 4.
3 or 4 player expansion.
Well, and then you're not just like pounding one player like,
Right.
they can't get a break. It's a little more spread out that way.
I did like the concept of strongholds, though. Like if you got all of your strongholds on the 1 card, once you purchase something, you have the ability to purchase a second card, which is really powerful.
Right.
But I did feel it slowed down the game tremendously. Because
did.
you were like, you purchase, you place, you purchase, you place.
Right, and I think one thing that's important to note is once you get your 3 on a stronghold and you purchase a card, you have the ability to purchase that card as well. You don't get it for free. You still have to spend the resources to get that card. So you do have to still pay attention to your coins and your other resources, or you might lose,
They just sit there.
Yeah. So then you have to purchase another card before you can purchase that one again. So you do have to watch what you're doing. You can't just automatically think you're going to get that card for free.
It definitely was my least favorite out of the 4, but I did enjoy them all.
Yeah.
Right. And some of our games, when our tier 1 cards were really short on the emeralds and the Onyx. And so we had tons of other resources, but we're like fighting for those. Like, come on, we need that one. So if someone had a Stronghold on it, I think I'd be really disappointed.
Yeah. Well, that's a strategy.
Well, here's a little bit about that.
Strongholds is kind of a chess-like variant. So what you do is you take your little personal towers, each person has a color, and when you purchase a card either from the table or from your hand, then you are able to place a stronghold of your color on any card on the table. When your stronghold is on it, that reserves that card for your color. So only this color could purchase this card at this time. But if you get three strongholds onto a particular card, then you get a second action of only purchasing that card. So maybe on your turn you draw the coins you need to take this card, but then you're able to, as a second action, purchase that. The other thing that's kind of fun about Strongholds is that it does not have to be just one color on a card. So if you're in a multiple player game, you can have all of these on one card, and yellow is like, oh, well, I'm not gonna get that, because you would still have to take an action of purchasing a card to then remove one. So that's the other way that you do it. When you purchase a card, you can remove a stronghold from any other card on the table.
Alright, so that is the Strongholds. We hope that you enjoyed these expansions as much as we did. Obviously, we all scored them very high, as well as the original base game. So if you haven't watched our original Splendor video and you're interested in it, click the link below. It'll take you to that. Give us a thumbs up if you liked our videos. Make sure you hit subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.